Hello students, welcome to lecture number 4 of our online chemistry classes. In last class we have learned about the characteristics of chemisorption. We have seen the differences between physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. We also learned about the Freundlich adsorption isotherm for adsorption of gases on solid surface as well as in the solution. And lastly, we have learned about the applications of adsorption. I hope you understood all these concepts. So it is as good as we have completed adsorption. Some in-test questions and exercise question we'll do when we complete the surface chemistry. But now we can solve first 28 questions. 28 MCQs from our college CET material. If you refer all this part which I have taught, you can easily solve these questions. Only one concept will add so that you will solve all of these questions is that we call this as adsorption, isobar. Just like isotherm means constant temperature, isobar means constant pressure. So we can plot on the y-axis x by m, and we can plot temperature on the x-axis. And if we come across this type of isobar, clearly this is the case of physical adsorption. It means temperature increases and physical adsorption decreases. If we have this type of isobar, see the difference. Initially it increases with temperature, reaches its maximum value, and then it decreases. So if we compare from this part, this one, it is similar to this physical adsorption. But initially we observed that the adsorption is increasing with temperature. This is the isobar of chemical adsorption. Why initially it increases with temperature? We know that this adsorption needs activation energy. So initially increasing temperature increases adsorption. But once the adsorption completes, chemical bond is formed between adsorbate and adsorbate. Increasing temperature now decreases the extent of adsorption. So this is one of the difference between physical adsorption and the chemical adsorption. Their adsorption isobars are of different character. One more thing we can add here is that at low pressure, the adsorption of gas on solid surface follows first order kinetics. Why we say so? Because x by m is directly proportional to pressure at low pressure. This is x by m and this is p. This is, so it is straight line, and it approaches saturation at high pressure. We know that one of the limitation of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So at low pressure it follows first order kinetics, and at high pressure it follows, it means adsorption of gas on solid surface, it follows zero order kinetics, because Increasing pressure will not increase the extent of adsorption at higher pressure. So these 2 points, they are useful in solving those 28 MCQs, because simultaneously if you solve, your work will be minimized. So this is all about the adsorption phenomenon. Now we have to go to the next phenomenon, which is choroids. First take choroids after the adsorption. So next concept is the choroids. We'll consider 3 types of system here. First is, we'll take starch and we'll put this in water. Another is starch plus water. And third one, we'll take some sand and put it into water. This we know in solution. You are learning solutions from 9th, 10th standard. We know that this is a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture, the composition is uniform throughout the mixture. It is difficult to know where salt is present and where water is present. Salt disappears. That's why it is homogeneous mixture. Second point, we say that this type of solution mixture is called as solutions, aqueous solution of salt, NaCl. We also call it as brine. Third thing, we can say that particles of one substance, we call it as solute, dissolves in another substance. This is a system where this is happening, and that another substance is called as solvent. Water is solvent and salt is solute. Component present in small proportion is solute. Large proportion is solvent. So particles of one substance dissolves into another substance. Particle size is very small, less than 1 nanometer. Particle size is very small, less than 1 nanometer. Nanometer means 10 raised to minus 9 meter. And the constituent particles are either ions, just like salt is, if it is common salt, we say Na plus and CO minus ions, or small molecules. They are the constituents of the solution. So we say that this is homogeneous mixture called as solution. Particles dissolves, solute dissolves into solvent. Particle size is less than 1 nanometer. And the constituent particles are either ions or the small molecules. We know about this. If we put sand into water, we get heterogeneous mixture. And that is called as suspension. Heterogeneous, we can distinguish the sand particles from water particles because particles settles down due to gravity. Here particles dissolves, here particles settles down, and it is heterogeneous, homogeneous, solution, suspension. And if you look at the particle size, it is more than 1000 nanometer. So we are going to another extreme where The components are forming heterogeneous mixture. We are calling it as suspension. Particles are settling down and their particle size is more than 1000 nanometer. Now in between these two extremes, we come across this example. Put starch in water. Whether it is homogeneous or heterogeneous, we call it as heterogeneous mixture. First property is heterogeneous, it is not homogeneous. We know that starch particles are just moving here and there in that solution. It is heterogeneous mixture. It is called as colloidal dispersion, or simply it is called as colloids. That part we are learning, colloids, which are heterogeneous mixture, also called as colloidal dispersion or colloids. Now what happens here? See the difference here. Dissolves, settles down, and see what happens here. Particles of one substance, we call it as dispersed phase. Particles of one substance, we call it as dispersed phase. Dispersed as fine particles in another substance, and that is called as dispersion medium. So particles dissolves, particles disperse. Disperse means distribute here and there. They are not settling down, they are not disappearing. It is intermediate. We can say particle size. Particle size is exactly in between these two. Less than 1 nanometer, more than 1000 nanometers, so it is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. And we can say that constituents are, I will use this piece because I have to look into more introduction part here. The constituent particles, in this case, constituent particles of the colloids are either ions or atoms or small molecules, or it can be macromolecule. Macro means large molecule, like protein, polymer, natural polymer, or it can be synthetic polymer, like rubber. So we are dealing with such a system here, which is heterogeneous mixture. Name we are giving it as colloidal dispersion or colloid. The dispersed phase particles are dispersed in dispersion medium. Particle size is 1000 to 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. And constituent particles are either ions, atoms, small molecules, or it can be macromolecules. In fact, ions are not present here because if ion substance is there, then it forms solution only, because hydration energy and lattice energy is involved here. Atoms or small molecules or macromolecules are the constituent particles. So this is the introductory part of colloids. Core properties we come across: heterogeneous mixture, particles of one substance disperse in another, particle size is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and constituent particles are atoms or small molecules, or they can be macromolecules. So we are dealing with this intermediate part where particle size is more than solution but less than suspension. Due to its particle size, it has complete new sets of properties which we are going to deal in this particular class. So this is all about the introduction part, colloids. Now in the colloids, we'll start with this very unique property of colloid, and then we classify it and we'll see how it is prepared. All this syllabus is there. Now if we consider the colloids, we can say colloids have large surface area. Large surface area. We are interested into that because we are learning surface chemistry. Large surface area per unit mass. Large surface area per unit mass due to its small size. 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer is very small size. That's why they have large surface area per unit mass. And this large surface area leads to some special properties. I told you that those properties are not present in solution, those which are not present in suspension. Unique properties because of the unique particle size and the dispersion in the medium. Now how they have large surface area per unit mass? We can consider this. One substance is of, I hope that you consider this as cube. This size is 1 centimeter. All are 1 centimeter sides. So surface area is 6 centimeter square. Why 6 centimeter? Because cube has 6 faces: top, down, left, right, this side and that rear side. So surface area is 6 centimeter square. If it is equally divided into 10 raised to 12 cubes, if we divide this into 10 raised to 12 cubes, because colloids are of very small particles, then this 10 raised to 2 cubes, they have size of large colloidal particles. If we divide this 10 raised to 12 times, then what we got is the large colloidal particle which has size 1000 nanometer. Now what is the total surface area of all this 10 raised to 12 cubes? It's 6 square meter. So total area of the same substance, same mass. If it has mass 1 gram, this also 1 gram total mass. But surface area from 6 square centimeter to 6 square meter. This is increasing 10,000 times. Now how it is increasing 10,000 times? We take the ratio of their value. Surface area 6 meter square, 6 centimeter square. We can write this as 6 into 1 meter into 6 into 1 meter square. 6 into 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. 6 into 1 meter can be written as 100 centimeter. 100 centimeter. 1 centimeter into 1 centimeter. Centimeter, 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 6 cancel. And what do I get here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. So it is 10,000 times more if we go on dividing it. So this 1 centimeter, this length, surface area is centimeter square, equally divided into 10 raised to 12 cubes, and the area becomes 6 meters square. Why we are dividing in 10 raised to 12 cubes? Because then we get our particle size, which is in accordance to the size of particle in colloids. So thing is that they have large surface area because of their small size, because of subdivisions. Their surface area go on increasing, and it increases to the very large extent. And because of that, the colloids have the sets of properties which are very unique. Now, next is we'll classify these colloids. Classify these colloids. Classification of colloids. Now, question will be definitely asked on this part, classification of colloids. So, you can say classification of colloids based on, the first is 3 types of classification we have to learn. First is based on physical state of dispersed phase. We call it as now dP. And dispersion medium, we call it as dm. Remember, this dP and dm abbreviations we are making, they are not standard abbreviations. But instead of dispersed phase, I will say dP, and dispersion medium I will say dm. You have to remember that. So it is based on the physical state. Next is the nature of interaction. Nature of interaction between dispersed phase. First time I am writing, so I will write in detail. And dispersion medium. Nature of interaction. How they interact. And third is type of particles in dispersed phase. So on this basis, we have to classify the colloids. As we are learning them first time, it is better to classify them so that we can increase our understanding about them. So we should understand, we should know now what we mean by dispersed phase, dispersion medium. When we talk about the component of colloids, there are 2 types of component present in small proportion and present in large proportion. In solution that is present in small proportion, we call it as solute, and that is present in large proportion, we call it as solvent. This you know. In colloid, the component present in small proportion is called as dispersed phase. This dP, dispersed phase, and that present in large proportion we call it as dispersion medium. So dispersion medium is equivalent to solvent of solution, and dispersed phase is equivalent to solute of solution. Dispersed phase is also called as discontinuous phase. Discontinuous. And dispersion medium is called as continuous phase. 2 phases are there, that's why it is heterogeneous. For example, if this is the starch solution, these are starch particles dispersed. They are not dissolved. If they are dissolved, I would not have drawn this dot. Disappear. But here they are dispersed. This is called as dp. And why it is discontinuous? Because from here to here, gap is there. They are dispersed here and there. That's why it is discontinuous. And this is called as medium, dispersion medium, because it is continuous. So dispersed phase particles are dispersed in dispersion medium. And we have to classify colloids first on their physical state, solid, liquid or gas. Then their interaction, whether they attract one another or they repel one another, and the type of particles. We'll see when we learn this type of classification. So first we'll classify them on the basis of physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So for that I will make one table here, very important table. Question can be asked for 1 mark from this table. So first I will make columns. See how I am making this table. You have to understand and remember this table. Practice is of course needed. I will again write dispersed phase. I will just rub this lecture 4. I already know lecture 4 because space is needed. So this is dispersed phase. This is dispersion medium. Third is type of colloid, and last one is example. We have to make more column, more space. For example, more space should be given. There are 8 types of colloid based on physical states of dp and dn. See which are the 8 types. And just make this table first. You also make table so that your time is also saved. Or already these rows are made in your, if you are using ruled paper, notebook. 4, 5. I hope that you make separate notebook for chemistry classes. And this is 8. Solutions are 9, but colloids are 8. We'll see why it is so. So this is solid, 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 liquid, 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 gas, gas. And look at the dispersion medium. Solid, liquid, gas. Solid, liquid, gas. Solid, liquid. No gases. If you write 9, gas into gas, homogeneous mixture. Solution. We are dealing only with heterogeneous system. So only we come across these 8 types. They are given ones very special names. Names also you have to remember. We'll start with this solid liquid. It is called as sol. Why it is called as sol? Because yes, O of solid and L of liquid. So it is called as sol. If we reverse it, liquid in solid, here we are taking. It is called as gel. Liquid in liquid is called as emulsion. These two I will learn in this colloid topic in detail. Liquid in liquid is called as emulsion. Solid in solid is called as solid sol. Solid in gas is called as solid aerosol. Liquid in gas is called as liquid aerosol. Gas in liquid is called as last one foam. And gas in solid is called as solid foam. Yes, they may ask for one mark also. In sol, which is dispersed phase and dispersion medium? Solid in liquid. They may ask anything. You have to remember this. This I have made right because this we have to learn in detail in this part. Otherwise, all you have to know. Now, the most important thing is examples. Examples are not difficult to understand, but they are very unique. So, you have to remember. I will number the examples. First is the colored glass. And the next is gemstones, colored stones, like this one. I don't know whether it is original or duplicate, but gemstones, colored stones. People put them in ring, hoping that their life will be better. Like that, gemstones. Next one is paints. Is solid in liquid. Cell fluids. Third is starch in water, and fourth is gold soap. I will just make this proper way. Read these examples and remember them. Solid aerosol is dust and smoke. Jellies, butter and cheese. Emulsion is milk and hair cream. Liquid aerosol is fog, mist, cloud, insecticide sprays. Solid foam is pumice stone. Pumice stone is that stone which has pores into it. In those pores, gas is present, that is solute, dispersed in the solid. Or it is foam rubber, bubbles of rubber. This is froth, soap and water, that froth is nothing but gas in liquid. Whipped cream. Cream which is whipped out. We call it as malai. Malai, right. And the third one, soap lamp. So these are the 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 examples. All examples I have known from textbook because they may give any one example and they may ask which is dispersed, what is physical state of dispersed phase and physical state of dispersion medium of that. Or they will use this word, give one example of emulsion, give one example of solid soap, give one example of solid foam. You should be able to distinguish between all these examples. This can be done by practicing. But important thing you might have realized that there are so many things in our daily life we come across which are made up of colloids, which are in colloidal state. This butter, jellies, cheese, whipped cream, which we use, or some natural substances like cell fluids, where protein and other nucleic acids, they are dispersed in the aqueous solutions of ions and molecules. Or this froth or foam, firefighting foam, they create so that fire will not spread out. So there are so many examples in our daily life which we come across, which are in the colloidal state. Now in the soul, if this liquid is water, dispersion medium is water, then we call it as dispersion medium, we call it is water, we call it as hydrosol or called as aquasol. And if that dispersion medium is alcohol, we call it as alkosol. And if medium is gas, we are calling it as aerosol. Like that. So these are some additional points we can make it out. But the important thing is that the colloids are not anything which is different. We use them. Only thing is that what is colloid? Basic thing, heterogeneous system. And one more thing, particle size is from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. That's all. If we go on making the particle size smaller and smaller, it falls in solution. Make particle size larger and larger, falls into the suspension. So colloid is a state of substance, not a substance. Remember this. Colloid is a state of substance, not the substance itself. For example, sodium chloride plus water. We know that it forms solution, homogeneous mixture, particle size less than 1 nanometer. But when that sodium chloride is put in benzene, it will not dissolve, it will disperse and it becomes colloid. So sodium chloride is true solution or colloid? It depends. Whether we put it in water, it becomes true solution, it forms true solution. When we put it in benzene, it forms the colloid. So remember this, because so many examples, smoke or dust, it comes in solution also as example. Only thing is that when it is solution, particle size is less than 1 nanometer, homogeneous system. And if it is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, it is colloid. So this basic difference you should be able to understand. So this is first classification. Important thing is some basic properties of colloids. New terms like disperse phase and dispersion medium. And how the surface area per unit mass increases when the substance enters into the colloidal state. Because of their intermediate size, unique properties, and their classification based on physical states of disperse phase and dispersion medium. The name given to them, typical name given to them, and this example. And colloid is a state of substance. Colloid is not substance, it is a state of substance. The example are before us. Sodium chloride, water solution, benzene, chloride. So this is first classification we have done. You have to remember this table. If I write these randomly examples, then also you should be able to know in which physical state of their Dp and Dm is present and what is the type of colloid it is. Okay, so thank you for watching this video.